Ooh, hey guys, welcome back. So I was just thinking to myself, I saw something about a Thor 5, Taika Waititi's not involved. It's probably for the best that he's not going to be coming back to direct. And so it made me think, what would a Thor 5 movie need to really be? They set up Hercules versus Thor for the next one, which would be really cool to have. So was it setting up a Hercules versus Thor for, Thor 5? You'd have to pay that off to some regard. Either have like Hercules being this guy who's after Thor, and you have a bigger threat, and so when they clash and they tire each other out, then you have this bigger threat they both then have to conquer together, and uh, mending fences in the midst of battle, becoming bros again. Maybe even have Beta Ray Bill in there, and then I think the way that it should end is the way that it needed to end forever ago, which is you have Thor reestablishing Asgard like he did in the 2007 run, and I feel like I keep going back to the 2007 run because I feel like that's probably one of the best Thor runs as far as Marvel comics go. And so you'd have to don't make Thor the villain because I feel like that's a having your good guy as a villain is just such a trope that's so played out. Like I don't want to see it. But you have Thor become king. You have Thor reestablish Asgard, and while he's doing all this, you have an outside threat. Maybe um I don't know. Mangog maybe or like something like that. Like one of these really sort of big threats. Galactus would be a solid one, but or this outside power that's like, oh, we got to control this power of Thor, so we got to make our own Thor. So then they clone their own Thor, making Ragnarok, like that clone that Tony created, and you have Thor and Hercules fight that, and then at the end of the movie, it would need to be Thor on the king of as the king of Asgard, and reestablished very Viking Thor 1, Thor 2 looking Asgard, and very Viking esque, very Game of Thrones esque looking environment that just really sends it home that hey, this is the new Asgard. This is King Thor. This is new Asgard. This is his lady, whether it be Jane Foster coming back in the midst of the battle to come and help him, or Sif coming to help him, or something just like that. Because like it would need to be something really good and really exciting. Because what they've kind of got going on, especially with Thor 4, was just botch. It just was a botched execution. And I know that you see this poster right back here, but the posters were cool. I was excited for the movie. I did see it a couple times. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't a terrible movie in the sense of like what is a bad movie? Just think of a bad movie, and you kind of got it. Thor 4 is better than some of those bad movies. The issue is you got a guy like Christian Bale as your villain. The guy can act, and you don't let him really act. You kind of drop the ball. You establish Valkyrie as the king of Asgard, which why not be queen? But that's a whole different separate discussion right there. Is why not just have her, Queen Valkyrie over it? Because there's been plenty of queens throughout history that are really wonderful. There's been wonderful queens all throughout history that you could have said Queen Valkyrie and it would have been fine. It wouldn't have had any weird indication or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like it wouldn't have had any of that. You would have just had a, oh hey, this is the new leader because Thor doesn't want to do it. And Love and Thunder just kind of dropped the ball, leaving him in the exact same spot that Endgame left him in, except now instead of him being fat, he's back to normal looking Thor. But your fifth Thor would really need to just be something that ties everything together, introduces some new characters, establishes Thor as the rightful king and heir of Asgard. Like that has to happen. That needs to be the thing that happens. Um, and maybe introduce if their whole thing is Hemsworth wants to step away from the MCU and he wants to move on, then you could introduce Beta Ray Bill, or you could introduce Baldar the Brave and have them as your Asgard character that then continues forward. Because I feel like you couldn't. I mean, I guess you could bring Jane Foster back and have her do that, but I don't know how well that would go over, and I don't know if it would be worth the risk kind of a thing. I don't think Natalie Portman would really want to do that either. I think she'd want to be more of like oh yeah, now I am the queen of Asgard. My Jane Foster is now the queen of Asgard kind of thing. I think that would be more up her alley. But anyway, guys, my thoughts on the Thor 5: have him fight Hercules, have a bigger threat come in that would be diminishing to them both, and have it end with Thor realizing he can no longer be this sort of wandering hippie, just all wandering about, whatever, and establishing him, reestablishing Asgard. Loki maybe then coming back in from wherever Loki season 2 left Loki at, but figure out a way to pull him out. And maybe that pulling him out of that weird spot that he's in is going to happen in Secret Avengers or King Dynasty, right? So you pull Loki out, and then you need to have them all come together, work together, coordinate together to be a cohesive royal team that then reestablishes Asgard and makes Asgard this this beacon that it's supposed to be, the beacon that it kind of was in the first two phases of the MCU, until Ragnarok. But anyway, guys, you guys let me know what you think about this, and I'll catch you in the next one.